Welcome back. Al Maha's original 25-kilometre nature reserve was expanded to 225 square kilometres in 2004, the largest protected land area under conservation management in the Gulf and the only one of its kind in the Middle East. We continue speaking to Mr. Arne Silvis, General Manager of Al Maha Desert Resort and Spa, as he takes us through the Dubai Desert Conservation Reserve and also why the resort was named as the #1 resort in the Middle East and 16 in the world by TripAdvosir. Now, Al Maha continues to have overall responsibility for the operations of the Dubai Desert Conservation Reserve. Tell us a little bit about the DDC project and how it's progressed throughout the years.
That's actually a long and interesting story. The two started out together, the one feeding off the other, and this is how the reserve eventually became to be 225 square kilometers in size. Part of the revenue and the profits which was generated by Al Maha was plowed back into this project. It's essentially sponsored by Emirates Airline, and for the last 2.5 years, Al Maha is directly managed by Starwood Hotels and Resorts, the luxury collection portfolio, which suits this property ideally and perfectly, although the property is still owned by Emirates Airline. The conservation side of it reports and is directly managed by Emirates Airline. But the two properties or the two entities work very, very closely in hand. The conservation staff and officers are still living on site. We have a fantastic relationship, and of course we need all that information, and on the other hand they need the input from our guests and the activities which we conduct on this reserve. So really a wonderful symbiotic relationship that we have. One cannot really exist without the other.
So Al Maha was ranked 16th in the Traveller's Choice Awards for 2013 for the top 25 hotels in the world and is ranked as the #1 hotel in the UAE according to travel website or hotel review website TripAdvosir. Now, this is a great reflection of how you service your guests here at the resort. Tell us a little bit about the guidelines that you follow and how that may compare to other resorts across the region.
Fantastic, that's indeed true, and an accolade which we're all very, very proud of. I think we are very blessed in the way that we are situated in a unique area, in a unique region in the world, first of all, and in this unique conservation reserve which we created. We're the only property operating within it. So in many ways we are very, very lucky that from the outset we're already offering our guests something truly unique. It's a wonderful experience. You can see people arriving fairly stressed after a long flight and stepping in through the door over there, where we have absolutely no telephones or computers or anything visible. It was designed like an Arabic home, so people feel welcome in this beautiful airy space. And from the minute the guests step in the door, there's personalized attention involved. Every guest, as they arrive, are allocated a field guide or a ranger, as well as a guest services agent. Those two staff members take care of every aspect of the guest stay, throughout taking care of their entire journey. And our aim over here is to create memories, a memorable experience for people, something unique which they won't be able to get anywhere else in the world. Over and above that, of course, providing fantastic linen and crockery and glassware, and the food and beverage aspect has to be top-notch as well, which it is over here. And we have a fantastic chef on board from France. So you have to get all of those aspects right. It's not just one singular thing which you have to get right. You have to be able to manage and balance everything to create those unique experiences. But like I said, the desert activities which we offer are fantastic. About 98% of our guests do participate in them. And on many of those activities we also offer certain food and beverage items like glass of champagne on the sundowner dunes, which is truly remarkable. And then riding back by camel, they're met down at the spa where the camel safari ends by some of the spa therapists with cold towels or warm towels depending on the time of the year. So there's all these little touches that you have to think of and just be prepared and think one step ahead, keeping the guests happy and listening to them. We're very good listeners over here.
Well, we wish you all the best and we thank you, Mr. Arne Silvis, General Manager of Al Maha Desert Resort and Spa, for joining us today. And finally on the program, world-renowned artistic producer Franco Dragone brought to life the story of Qasr al-Husn in the production titled The Story of a Fort, Legacy of a Nation. It was a captivating show that allowed the audience to travel back in time. Fortunately, future generations will have the opportunity to visit and experience this part of the UAE's rich history for many more years to come, as efforts are now on to restore it to its former grandeur. Our correspondent Khadija Salih takes us there.
Modern-day Abu Dhabi is a hustle and bustle of activity. It is the center of the arts and capital of the UAE, one of the most dynamic and steadily growing economies in the world at present. More than 2 centuries ago, the city's skyline was very different. In fact, there were no tall buildings or towering skyscrapers, except for a structure that weathered the times and bore witness to a grand history that unfolded after it was first built during the 18th century. Qasr Al Hosn was the inspiration for the artistic masterpiece staged at the capital earlier this year, the story of a fort, legacy of a nation.
The first thing I had to do is to learn about here, about the people, and through the eyes of the friends that I met, I think I found also the inspiration. But we went through archive, we went through a lot of documentation, we went in the desert, we went on the sea, so everything first we're learning about.
The visual poetry showed the significance of the structure to the Emirati history. What is now known as an iconic landmark was also the first ever built in the capital and housed generations of the royal family. In 1761, Sheikh Diab bin Isa, leader of the Banias tribes, had the fort built to protect the newly discovered source of fresh water then. Upon discovery of oil, it was developed and expanded over time from a fort to a palace and later came to be known as Qasr Al Hosn, which translates to Palace of Defense.
I try to build or create images that talk to the audience, to the people, without constraint, without interference of knowledge. And you don't have to know the history to be moved, because we are all sensible to anything. I really believe that a Japanese can cry for the same reason as an Italian. And so this universal language, I call it visual poem or emotional archetype. Through the emotion, you really can talk to the people.
In 2007, an extensive conservation project began to preserve and restore Qasr Al Hosn back to its former glory for centuries to come. The restored fort today stands at the heart of Abu Dhabi, in the middle of the ongoing growth in the city. These facts were probably the easiest to convey, but it was more than just history that Dragoni wanted the public to know and remember.
The challenge in this show was really to elevate, I would say, the debate, not to stay too close to the fact, but be able to touch the sensitivity of the people. And I've tried, for instance, I wanted to put more dance, more acrobatic. And I have here high-level performers. But each time I tried to put an acrobat, it did not work. What worked was the way I used the fabric, the curtain, the archive, the picture. And I was always moved about picture. When I watch a picture, there is a kind of melancholy, a kind of nostalgia that comes.
From the festival held this year in celebration of its legacy, to the spectacular show commissioned to depict it, to its present standing strong 250 years since it was first built, its walls continue to bear silent witness to the civilization's evolution. Qasr Al Hosn is the symbol of Abu Dhabi's history, heritage, and growth. Khadija Sali, UAE Weekly.
Well, that brings us to the end of the program. If you would like to get in touch with us, you can at UAE Weekly at city7tv.com or by calling us on 04-367-2230. From myself and the entire team, have a great week ahead.